on It. Sunday mornings from 9.
On BBC London 94.9.
It is 10:05 on March the 24th, this Sunday. What do you think about your teenagers? How do you deal with them? If they're naughty, what do you do? How do you punish them? Megan Lovegrove, say good morning.
Good morning.
Louise Bedwell, say good morning.
Good morning.
And where are you both from?
We are from South London, sort of Wimbledon way.
Oh, are you? Wimbledon. Yeah. Come a bit round this way, my darling, but you're going to have to talk into your mic so I can see you. So you'll have to move your mic. That's it. It's directional. Now, these girls have written a book called Teenagers Explained. If you want to talk about being a teenager and if you want to argue with them, they're going to have to take you on. 0207 224 2000, text 81233, starting with the word London. Now, I have asked what PARD means. I'm going to ask my producer... Yes, we've got a caller for that, exactly, so you're not allowed to answer me. Yes, you're not going to tell me what it is. So now let us... if I open up this book... Introduction, okay, then we've got... It's just so typical is number one. Listen, it doesn't matter if you make noise, my darling, I'll shout at you. The art of communication and discipline, family dynamics, friends, cliques, and the dreaded B word, which is bullying, the highs and lows of a teenage social life, everything changes, sex and relationships, fan stuff, music festivals and fashion, holidays and home alone. It's a virtual world, SOS, stress of school, money, 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 and the future's looming. They're extraordinarily interesting subject heading. Let me start with you, Meg. How did you come across the notion to write this book, and then how did you set about doing it?
Well, it was a competition that was advertised to us in an English lesson, because we used to sit next to each other in English. And
where were you at school?
Nonsuch in Cheam.
Nonsuch. What a great name. It sounds like a made-up name. Anyway, go on, yeah.
Yeah, and so it was a competition, and we had to submit writing samples, and we went to talk to them, and they picked us in the end. And we started writing.
So what does it mean, Lou, to you? What does this book mean to you? I mean, we'll go into the book in a moment, but Teenagers Explained, a witty and insightful guide to remind parents of the dramas and dilemmas of being a teenager, says Parenting UK. When they picked you, what happened? Did your stomach sink?
No, because we wanted to do it. We'd applied for the competition, so I think it's such an exciting thing for us to do, because, I mean, we were 16 when we did it, so...
How old are you now?
18.
Have you left school?
Final year.
Final year. What do you want to do?
I want to do politics and economics at uni with aspirations of political journalism.
Do you? Good on you, girl. What about you, Megan?
I'm doing veterinary nursing. Yeah.
Now, when you were writing the book, you two, were you surprised at this, that you agreed with each other or that you disagreed with each other? How did it work for you two?
Well, I think we both have quite different experiences to an extent growing up, because I'm an only child and Megan's got a younger brother. And I'm quite close to my mum. I sort of, rather than my dad, and she was close.
I'm very close to my whole family.
Okay, so there weren't many arguments when you were writing this book?
There were a few.
there were a few, but I think it was interesting because it made us really kind of analyse our own behaviour a lot when we was doing it, and we kind of discovered things that we used to do or that we did that we never really realised that we did.
Yeah.
So. Okay, well listen, we'll go into that in a minute. Hi, Deanna from Stratford, good morning. Are you there, my dear? Deanna in Stratford. Hello.
Hello.
Oh, hi, Deanna. Well done, lovely. Thank you so much. Okay, so my question is, what does PARD mean? What does it mean?
So PARD means shamed or humiliated. So if someone says, oh my God, he PARD me, that means, oh my gosh, he embarrassed me, he humiliated me, usually in front of other people.
Where does the word come from?
I have no idea. I just know I use it.
And so if I go to a party and there's a really gorgeous geezer standing at the door and he sucks his teeth, is he parring me?
Yeah, because he's basically saying he don't want you. So he's like, so you'd be like, oh my God, he just parred me. He just embarrassed me.
So can a girl par a girl?
Yeah, because let's say you've got, I don't know, she doesn't like your shoes and she might say something about your shoes, then she's parring you because she's basically putting herself above you. She's basically putting herself on a pedestal above you.
Oh, my darling.
She's basically looking down on you. So, she's partying you.
Well, now listen, Louise, who's written this on the back of a book, when she's told her mum that she was parred at a party, her mum thought she was swearing at her.
I was a bit surprised about that. It doesn't really sound like a swear word, but I don't know. Yeah, it's used on a regular basis. You could use it in different ways as well. So there's parred, and then there's just the word par. So if I don't know how would I say it? Like if someone said par that means allow it. Like I don't want to do that, for example. That's another way of using it. But
I love it. I love it. I love it. So if I say to you, okay, Deanna, go, am I parring you?
No.
So if you tell me you don't want to talk to me anymore, par me. Go on.
So you want me to par you? So
yeah.
It'd be like, well, you're butters anyway, so we don't. That's me parring you, because I'm basically saying you're ugly.
How dare you say I'm butters? Go away. That is horrible. Deanna from Stratford, how brilliant. I love it. I mean, as a 64-year-old bird, I love your language. I think it's great. Let's start with language. Do teenagers speak a different language from their parents?
Sometimes.
To an extent. I think we have a lot of slang that obviously parents don't understand what it means.
And is that intentional? You don't mind that they don't understand? I mean, is it deliberately used so that you actually cut them out of your conversation?
It's not deliberately.
I don't mean it's deliberate, yeah. It's just...
But it's quite handy.
Everyone does.
Yeah, so come on, give me some slang. I mean, what was your parents not understand? I can remember when I was your age, my mother saying, stop saying the word cool. And I thought I was being very cool, being cool. And we used to say daddy-o.
Daddy-o.
Yeah. What goes daddy-o, for goodness sake, I know. Go on, give me some slang examples.
Well, I think I was telling my mum something the other day, and I told her something was really bait, which is something that's really obvious.
Bait?
Yeah.
Bait, yeah.
B-A-I-T.
Mm-hmm. I've not heard that one. So do you talk about being on road?
What does that mean?
I don't know what that means.
Oh, you don't know that? Well, that's my daughter's always talking about being on road. It's if you're walking along the street, being on road.
Really?
Is there a different slang between the black community and the white community?
I think rather than between races, it's more between areas of the country, because I've got quite a lot of friends who live up north, and my friends who go to uni up north, when they use slang that we use now, she was saying how up in Manchester, I think they were using words that we used like 3 years ago, and it was just completely it was different meanings for the same word.
So if somebody is really old-fashioned, is there a slang word for that?
Old-fashioned.
Like if that was so last year. Do you have one for that? Think about it. Listen, this is Tina Charles. I love it. We're gonna go into what it's like to be a teenager. I can nearly remember. This is Tina Charles. I love to love. Great old song. God blimey, it sounds like someone's pinching her bottom. I love to love! Anyway, that was Tina Charles, I love to love. How do you cope with your teenagers, and how do you cope with being a teenager? Curfews, punishment and money are the questions that we're starting with. 0207 224 2000. Text 81233 starting with London. Let me just ask Megan and Louise, curfews, what did you arrive at?
We basically said that you have to set one, but of course it depends on every teenager, because some are fine going... If you're older, you're fine going out to, like, midnight, 1, if your mum's fine with that. But yeah, we said we have to stick to it. The main problem is you have to stick to your curfew. Like, the parents have to stick to the curfew and punish them if they don't.
For me, it was more going out, but if my mum knew where I was and what sort of time I'd be coming home, then she was usually okay with it.
Have you lied? Did you ever lie to your parents about where you were?
Yeah, all the time.
Louise does.
Really? Yeah. Well, I guess it's the way we put... Well, we'll talk about lying in a minute. Calvin in Dagenham, good morning, young man.
Good morning.
How old are you?
I'm 13, nearly 14.
Okay, happy birthday, lovely, for when you're 14.
Can I just say happy birthday to Jenny?
Yes, you can. Go on, sing me happy birthday. Go for it.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
That'll do. I'm getting really embarrassed. Okay, so that's brilliant. Now, Calvin, you, let me say good morning. Say good morning to Megan and Lou, please.
Good morning, Megan.
Good morning.
Good morning, Lou.
Good morning.
Lovely. So now, Calv, you're 13. Tell me, when you go out, what time you have to come in and what happens if you're late.
Well, my curfew's 9 o'clock, and if I don't come back at 9 o'clock, my parents will be waiting for me, and then I don't play my Xbox for 1 week, or I go to bed without dinner.
Oh my God! Which is worse, Calvin?
It's hard.
Which is worse, going to bed without dinner or not playing your Xbox?
Not playing my Xbox. No, actually, going to bed without dinner.
Really? Do you lie to your parents if you say that if they say you've got to be in at 9 and you get in at 10? Do you lie why you're late?
Depends on where I've been. Like if I've been to a party and I know I'm not supposed to go to that party, then probably I would lie.
You naughty thing! You naughty, horrible little boy. Okay, well listen. This Xbox thing, I don't know, and I don't understand what it is actually. But to live a week without it, what do you replace it with?
Well, I would usually just go to my friend's house
and play it there. Calvin, you're disgraceful. Listen, bless you. Thank you for singing me happy birthday. Brilliant. Calvin from Dagenham, age 13. Now, what do you make of that?
It's quite a harsh punishment.
Yeah, going about food. Xbox is a good idea, though, I think.
Why do you think it's harsh, Megan?
What, to go to bed without dinner?
Yeah.
I think it's a bit mean. They could at least give him some food.
So now, if you were to have this altercation with your parents, I mean, you do understand the word altercation, I know you're young, but if you were to have this kind of argument, because Megan's looking at me like... Anyway, would you talk your parents down? Do you scream and shout with your parents? What do you make of screaming and shouting?
I think earlier on in your teens, you do the more screaming and shouting.
Yeah,
you're a bit more unreasonable.
Were you allowed to scream and shout?
No.
You weren't?
I'm not allowed.
My mum would just end up screaming at each other.
You see, I always think it's a good thing. My kid never really lost her temper, but when she did, she's only done it about 3 times, and doors have slammed and the house has shaken. But it clears the air. How do you two clear the air if you don't get rid of your rage?
Oh no, I used to scream and shout a lot, all the time.
I just talk to my parents. We talk quite a lot, so we're quite open.
How important is communication?
Very, very important. If we weren't so honest and open with each other, then we would have had a lot more arguments.
So have you ever been frightened of telling your parents anything?
No, never.
Have you, Lou?
Not really, but I think that's because I was always quite private, so I just wouldn't tell them stuff.
If you want to go into politics, do you think there should be a children's czar? Do you think there should be somebody in government who actually represents young people?
No, because I think all teenagers and children are really different, so it would be kind of hard to have one person representing.
Yeah. What was the worst punishment you ever had?
I don't know. I don't think I ever had anything that bad. It's more that I just wouldn't be allowed to go out. So if I'd done something bad or annoyed my mum or whatever, one weekend, then for the next weekend, if there's something coming up, then she'd be like, okay, I'm just not letting you. So
it's about being grounded.
Yeah,
you would be grounded.
Yeah.
I mean, that I don't know if I could ever actually do that, to be grounded. But have you ever been hit, you two? Were you ever smacked by your parents?
When I was younger, but...
That's meant to be illegal. Do you care that you were smacked?
Well, it wasn't like brutal.
It
wasn't like child abuse. It was just when I was a lot younger. But only for like really, really bad things. I'd have to have been really naughty.
Like walking into the road when you've been told 7 times, don't do it.
Yeah, and I knew it was coming, and if I stepped over the line, I knew I was going to get smacked.
So, I mean, it's a terrible question to throw at you, but if you were now parents of children at your young age, which many young people are, how would you discipline a child?
Oh, I think smacking seems quite controversial now.
I like the naughty step idea.
You like the naughty? Okay, well, I want you to think about that. It's 10:30. For the rest of you, how do you punish your teenagers, if you do? Curfews, and do you give them pocket money? We're going to talk about that when we come back from the news. 0207 224 2000. Text 81333, starting with London. But now it's headlines at exactly 10:30 with Mr. David Friend.
Jenny Barnett, Sunday mornings from 9.
On BBC London 94.9.
There you are, 10:33. I'm sitting with two young girls, Megan Lovegrove and Louise Bedwell. Do you mind me saying you're young?
A little bit now.
Yeah,
you do, a little bit.
I'm 18 now.
We're at the age of 18.
How should I describe you then?
Young adults.
Oh, God, blimey. I'm sitting with two young adults.
I hate that phrase.
I know, but it's better than...
What would you call yourself?
Young lady.
Young lady.
All right, okay, I'm an old lady today, and my young ladies are Megan Lovegrove. No, actually, she's the young adult. The young lady is Louise Bedwell. I'm asking you how you talk to your teenagers, curfews, punishment and money. Actually, what occurs to me is that you might not want to talk about that. You might want to talk about what you were punished for when you were a teenager. I was such a good girl. I was a really good girl. It was only when I got into my 20s that I turned into an absolute nightmare. Thank God I wasn't living at home. So, when you were a teenager, what was your worst punishment? 0207 224 2000. Now, Esther was so naughty that she didn't come home for 24 hours, and her mother refused to let her go to... sorry, my daughter just said, Pia, happy birthday. Have a nice rest of your show, and I'll see you when you get home. Kiss, kiss. Oh, so nice. Oh, gosh, she owes me money. But my producer, she snuck out because she wasn't allowed to perform in her local amateur production. So what were you punished for when you were a teenager? 0207 224 2000. Text 81333, starting with London. I love this teenage speak stuff. We're going to talk about... other things from the book, but Wagwan, fam, what does that mean?
Kind of like, what's up?
Yeah.
Wagwan. Do you say that?
I don't, but I know people that do.
What would you say? Would you say what's up?
I'd say hello.
Yeah.
Oh, God. You're so funny. Okay, this is from Sue Ann in Stockwell. I admired a teenager's shoes, trainers. She said in a sarky fashion, these young people's shoes, what do those... oh, okay. What do you two... She says that they're young people's shoes. And Sue Ann in Stockwell wants to know, what do you two think of low riders? Sue Ann, they don't know what you're talking about.
Low riders? No idea.
What, shoes?
Yeah. You don't know what a low rider is? Okay. No. Okay, so here's another thing. If I is butters, which means...
Ugly.
Yeah.
Check it. Yo and yo is Marge, blatant scene. What does that mean?
No idea.
I have no idea.
Well, this is margarine, blatant. Instant response, méchant et ça perbeurre. It's something to do. Read it out. You speak French and sort it out. Now, I'm going to talk to my guest, Jill Hines, who wrote the book Whatever, a down-to-earth guide to parenting your teenager. Morning, Jill.
Good morning.
Hi. What prompted you to write your book Whatever, which I love as a title?
Oh, good. I'm glad you like the title. What prompted us to write it? I wrote it with someone who'd been coming along to some of my workshops, a woman called Alison Baverstock, who's a mum and a publisher. And we decided to write it because we were getting such a lot of response from parents of teenagers who wanted to know how to do some pretty basic things. So really it was written to help and reassure all those parents out there who felt a bit out at sea with their teens.
What are the basic things?
What are the basic things? Well, I think you've heard them, really. Communication is absolutely crucial. Not giving in to them just because they can give you a wonderful explanation of why they should have to do this or why they should be given this or why they should be allowed to do that.
Jill, can you hear my guests? They're giggling. It makes me laugh.
Yes. So I'm guessing these two were really good at it when they were young because they're brilliant speakers. Young people today are very good at giving you all the reasons and the expression that goes with it. The look on the face that says, I will die if you don't let me do this. And
parents love their kids and parents want their kids to be happy, so they often give in. And then a little bit further down the line, wish they hadn't, because things get tricky.
Yeah. Do you want to talk to Jill? Ask Jill, as young people, as a young lady and as a young adult, set her a question how she would deal with...
Oh dear.
Yes, go on. About how... Okay, this is a question I'll ask you to ask her. How do you communicate with teenagers? Go on, you ask that.
Answer, how do I communicate?
No, you ask. First we'll say how you think you should communicate with young people, and then you can ask Jill Hines, who wrote the book Whatever, A Down-to-Earth Guide to Parenting Your Teenager.
Okay, how would we say communicate?
Just talk to them like they're adults, like they're actual people rather than little kids.
Don't be patronising.
Never patronise.
That's the worst thing to do.
Shuts people down. Don't give them like a million questions. Don't bombard them with questions.
And
keep it simple.
And if you make it seem more like a friendly conversation than interrogating them, then that's obviously going to be a lot more effective.
Now, Jill, what do you make of that?
I agree with all of that. I'd add a few things too. We find that situations where you don't have to have too much eye contact work well as well. So if you're driving in the car, sitting side by side, it's easier sometimes to chat. It doesn't feel so much like a grilling. The other thing I'd say as well is that young people work from a different bit of the brain a lot of the time than adults. So the way they talk is rather different and will often come out charged with a lot more emotion. And adults tend to go, don't you talk to me like that. And
that tone of voice.
That tone of voice.
Yeah.
And actually you have to ignore a lot of that. Listen to the words or listen to what they're trying to say rather than what's actually coming out. Because they don't know they're doing it a lot of the time. They don't mean to be doing that. Another thing is that because they're teenagers, their ability to read other people's body language can be compromised as well. So they may not get that you're actually being sarcastic or you're being stern with them. So sometimes it's a good idea to say, look, I'm feeling a bit like this right now. I think we need to talk, rather than expecting them to pick up on it. You know, they really don't always know how you're feeling. So it causes this real emotional disjointedness between the two of you, which it's very hard to talk to someone if they think you're thinking something completely different.
Yeah.
So it's all about trying to communicate, actually making the purpose of the conversation, trying to understand where the other's coming from, rather than trying to catch them out or trying to prove they're lying or something else.
Let me just ask you one final question. You know, I remember reading Bob Geldof's book when my kid was a teenager, and he said parents are not there to be friends, they're there as parents. What do you make of that one?
I pretty much agree, really. I think there are times when they're there to be friends, there are times when they're there to pick you up and help you through, but actually their role when someone is going through their sort of adolescence is really about reining them in a bit and keeping them safe. I would say the principal role of a parent is to keep their child safe, and that's a really hard thing to do when they're out there in the world without you. So it takes quite a lot of diplomacy, and it takes quite a lot of looking at one's own issues. I think parents need to look at why they make kids or stop kids or want kids to do things a certain way, and it's often to do with them, not their young people.
Oh, okay, brilliant. Your book, thank you, Jill Hines, Whatever, ! A Down-to-Earth Guide to Parenting Your Teenager. I'm going to ask Megan and Louise in a moment, parents as friends, keeping them safe, and diplomacy. We'll come to that in a minute. But first, Susie in Stockwell, thank you for calling. But tell me, what is a lowrider?
It's when they wear their jeans really low. Oh. Everything that's going on, all their...
Yeah, I thought she was talking about shoes, though, wasn't she?
No, but what I said was a teenager, I admired someone's shoes, and she said, like I said, all the well fly. And she said, they're for young people. Like she was implying I was a granny or something, I don't know. They're just being sarcastic. It's like...
Okay, so what do you think of lowriders? Now I know what they are. I think they are abominable. And when Justin Bieber was in the newspaper recently, not only could you see his underpants, you could see what was under his underpants.
Exactly. They slide down really, really low. They look disgusting. Sorry about that. And it means that when you're in jail in America, you're not allowed to wear your belt, and it just means you're available. So your trousers slide down. That's where it comes from in the American jails.
Susie in Stockwell, thank you on a Sunday morning for revealing that. Thank you, lovely, for phoning in. So now, Susie's question is, what do you like? Do you like low riders, you two?
No, I just want to pull their trousers up.
Okay, now we are talking about teenagers and parents and diplomacy and keeping your child safe and money and discipline. And so the Walker brothers are about to sing to you. And I think that this is the philosophy. You've got to make it easy on yourself. You know when songs finished, boom, 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 like that. Okay, 0207 224 2000 if you wish to speak to Megan or Louise, who have written a book, Teenagers Explained, a manual for parents by teenagers. You can text 81333 starting with London, or you can email me jenny1m1@bbc.co.uk. From Jamie, today's news reviewer. To the top tuned-in Daddy-O teen guest, this is from Jamie, who's listening to you, Jamie Kelsey Fry. Your book is really handy for all parents, but what advice... You met him, didn't you? It's a disgrace to humanity. We love him. Your book is really handy for all parents, but what advice would you give teachers? Jamie Kelsey Fry asks you, what makes a good teacher in your view, and what sticks out as bad teaching practice?
I would say a teacher that you can tell enjoys teaching you and genuinely wants
about
you to do well, as opposed to just the class
figures
getting good grades and statistics.
I would say, I got this many A stars. They need to actually care about you.
How does that exhibit itself?
As an individual?
Just, like, if you ask...
you can tell in the way they talk to you, or if you...
ask for help, going out of their way to help you, and so to make you understand something, rather than just saying, look it up later.
Like a teacher you can feel you can go back to after a lesson and be like, I don't understand this. Or
really approachable.
And have you had lots of good teachers at your school?
I think our school's sort of hit and miss with their teachers, but...
what makes a bad teacher then?
Someone who...
always really angry and shouts a lot.
And you can tell just cares about kind of making sure you've got the work, so the responsibilities off of them.
Yeah.
So interestingly, thank you, Jamie, for sending that in. If you look at a harmonious family background, I mean, they do say that it's a microcosm of the macrocosm. How you deal in your family and your family relationships is how you then go out into the world. So, Lou, what have you learnt from being close to your mum, single child, writing the book? How have you been provided for to go out into your adult life?
Well, I think because I'm an only child as well, I think that's made me be a lot more independent and responsible, and I wouldn't say accountable for my actions, but I can deal with situations and quite well by
you're
myself.
Used to being on your own and it being your own decision.
Yeah.
Whereas I've always had Tom to talk to.
Your brother, are you older or younger?
Older.
So he's kind of looked up to Big Sis, has he? But
I'd like to think so.
What would you? Blimey! What would you take out into the world? I always had my mother. I used to say my mother used to be sitting on my shoulder, so that if I ever was about to do something, if I heard her going, "What?" then I wouldn't do it. And then as I got older, I flicked her off my shoulder, but I've been left with her philosophy and with my father's philosophy. So what do you have sitting on your shoulder?
Well, I'm pretty much the same in that my mum is always there. Like, everything, I feel like I can talk to her about anything, and I talk to her about all, like, the big decisions and everything. And if I'm going to do something wrong, I can hear her in my head going, "No, you know that's stupid. Don't do that."
So what would you say to young people, young adults who don't have a mother or don't have a stable parenting?
I'd say older friends.
Yeah, older friends.
Because I've got quite a lot of friends who are older than me, and they're always quite helpful to me because they've gone through the same situation themselves, but it's not so long ago, so they're easily relatable.
Help you,
but what about very old people? Because when I was your age, one of my best persons to talk to was a 90-year-old woman called Winnie, who used to give me the confidence to be myself. Do you, I think the intergenerational thing's very interesting. Do you have older people you can talk, very older people you can talk to?
Well, my nan. I talk to my nan a lot.
And is she very wise?
She's very wise. She knows everything. I don't know how she knows so much.
Because she's lived.
Yeah.
Because she's lived around. Tell me, money. How do you, when somebody says that, Mum, I really want a £5, and the mum says, what do you want it for? I mean, I can remember this one. And then you find out later on that it might have gone in a packet of fags or gone to something even worse. How do you deal with that one? How do you argue that one?
Well, I would say if you know what your teen, like if you know where they're going, then you have a relatively good idea what they're spending it on.
Yeah. I mean, I only get money as pocket money. So I have to do chores to get my money. So if I asked Mum for a £5, she'd say no. She'd say, where's your pocket money gone?
Yeah, clean your windows or mow the lawn or make your bed or whatever.
Lots of washing up.
Listen, this book, where can we get this book?
You can get it on Amazon.
Yeah,
probably the easiest place to get it.
It's in Smiths as well.
Have lots of people been buying it? I mean, do you feel quite grand?
Yeah.
I mean, when we first did it, we thought it would be quite a minor, small thing.
Yeah,
but I think a couple of different media outlets found out about it, and it just sort of exploded, the amount of publicity we did for it.
So many radio interviews and
TV
well, I wish you well with this. It is really, really well done. Teenagers Explained, a manual for parents by teenagers. Say happy birthday to me.
Oh, happy birthday, Jenny.
Thank you so much. It's taken them a whole interview. Listen, I'm saying goodbye to you lovely girls. Thank you so much. Good luck with your vets.
Thank you.
Veterinary life, and good luck with your politics. Fantastic. They are lovely. Megan Lovegrove and Louise Bedwell. And to give them money to go through university, buy the blooming book, will you? Teenagers Explained.